Grace to you all. You're welcome back to our YouTube channel,
The Justified Nation. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. It's good to have you on our channel today, and we promise that you're going to have a blessed time watching us. Today, we're going to be talking about how we journeyed from the time we start our relationship till the day we got married. It's going to be a very interesting and informative and transformative one, and I'm sure it's going to bless you. Stay tuned as we journey.
Let's go.
Yeah, how has it been? Talking about things previously, about how we met, and all. How has it been for you?
Well, it's actually been good. Actually, one of the things I enjoy doing the most is talking about some of my experiences in the past and how I was able to transit through every phase, especially my relationship. It's more like a key one for me. And just like I said in some of the videos, I believe God had been intentional about my relationship since the I don't know how long now, but then he has just been so interested and so intentional about my relationship. So to me, it's kind of it's something I study, all right, and that's why I'm able to give precise time, precise date, when things are happening and how I was able to transit. So it's having the opportunity to discuss this with the world. I mean, it's a blessing because some people could we could have the same experience, right? You could be able to learn from my past, from the things I've been able to go through, all right, just by sharing it. So it's just more like a very good one for me though.
Yeah, I think it just made me reflect on the goodness of God. Basically, I've just known that God has been faithful through it all. All right, without any further ado, we go into what we have for today. I know that you're all excited and you want to hear how it went. All right, so in our last video, I said that I was not happy when I said yes. I was so full of fears. I didn't know what I would expect. I knew it was going to be a rough one. I knew it was going to be a hard one because of my parents, my background, my parents. Yeah.
Well, I'm just kind of thinking when you said you were not happy when you said yes.
Yeah, do you know why? Because the fear of how do I tell my dad that I want to get married to a photographer, one. No.
Photographers are in trouble.
No. Like my dad's before, like now his perception has changed. But my dad's previous perception about a photographer is, I mean, photo. Do you get? So how would I now? It made me so worried that, okay, how do I table this thing? How do I explain that this is God's will? How do I explain that this is what God is saying I should do?
Yeah, okay.
Do you understand? Knowing that our perspective is different from my parents' perspective is different from my perspective. Do you understand?
Yeah.
That how would they say it and all? And it's like, my mom used to say, show me doctor to Afeni. Like she no, like that's like our own. When I just talk about, she'll be like, why are doctor? Why are we Do you understand? Every mom like expects something high for their babies. Do you get what I mean? So the fear was there that, God, how do I go through this thing? How do I sort it?
Yeah.
And the basic of the basic was the issue with Ore. Don't worry, just stay tuned on our channel. We're going to share what transpired between my husband and my sister before, long before we even met or we knew that we're going to get married. That made me very fearful that, okay, maybe what has happened. Maybe he wants to use it to replay on me, and maybe I don't know if you get what I mean. So I was just like, my sister does not even like him. Like, how do I even tell my sister that this is who I want to marry? And hey, my family like, hey. So the fear of those things was there, but there was one thing that helped me in those fears. My husband called me one day and was like, because I told him, I'm like, to say yes is not the issue because like you're a good person, but this, that, I told him. And it was like, he was praying and God told him that he and my sister would be best friends. And I should not worry about that one at all. I'm like, eh? Are you playing? Excuse me? I say best friends in boo. Is well in Jesus' name.
Amen.
I shall say, wait, this brother have been telling me God said and it has been happening. Oh, let me shall use the mind I'm using to believe the other ones. Let me to believe this one. So it was not like that. And God also told him that my parents are going to love him and he'll be friends with my dad and my mom and there will not be issue. So when he told me that, I was like, well, I believe in his insight and his foresight. That all right. So it gave me a sort of relaxation a bit. I wasn't totally at rest. And in the middle of this thing, even before we entered the relationship, before I said yes or anything, we were within the 100 days fast.
Yeah.
And I already received the picture, or the specific picture, I should send to my dad. Do you get? I already told Brother Shola. I told Brother Shola. Brother Shola was still probing me. So I was still in that phase with Brother Shola trying to explain who the person is to him and everything. So
Sorry. So Brother Shola is more like your mentor back then.
yes, it's still my mentor because
True.
if something hits me bad,
It's when you're on to.
that brother, you have seen me my lowest. No, like is
And sorry to say, he's no longer a brother. He's a pastor, a man of God. Pastor Shola.
yes.
Let's give honor to
whom honor is due. He used to be it was my pastor in when I was in Ukraine. So like it's just a very good person to me. Like when things are like hard, when the days that I don't have food, like he will give me food. Like so when I actually go through phases with him at that time, he is anything like this I'd have called him, but actually like, this is it oh. No matter how personal or like not like personal, but like there are some people that you know that okay, God has sort of put solutions in them for you.
True.
I cannot take my matter to somebody that is not even aligning with who I am. Do you get? So it was so then I already told him that Brother Shola, this is the person. Oh. I told some other people too and all like that. And this is the person that I want to marry you, this is it and everything. So after a while, at that time when we were within the 100 days fast, we were seeing COVID, everybody was at home. I slept and I dreamt and I saw a picture. The picture, and Holy Spirit was like, this particular picture of him is the one I sent to my daddy on so date, July 17th, 2020. And that was in March when I had that dream. July 17th was when God said that this is the particular picture you will send and this is the day you will send it. I will send it. So that was I already knew the picture. I saved the picture and I was praying that God, if my daddy sees it, speak to him. If my daddy sees it, do this, do that. So that was it basically. So I was still in Ukraine and he was still back at home in Nigeria. And then yes, we always like pray on phone. Yes, because we're in the midst of 100 days fast. And I think we prayed every day in that 100 days. Like every day.
Yeah, most times we do. Yeah.
Did we miss any day?
Except when there's no power.
There was always power. One way. Or you will go to school.
Exactly. True though. True.
There was always like, even if it is 30 minutes,
exactly.
You get like there was always like you always is a go-getter. So you always know how to struggle yourself out to get power to make us call and pray. So those times we were praying. So it was just about knowing who I was and what God wanted for me. I used to say it, I don't know, and I stand to be corrected. I am not married until I am married. So at that time, I already knew that this uncle is good for marriage.
I understand. I am not married
until I am married.
Oh, okay.
Do you get?
Yeah.
So like I used to see him as the person I'll marry you, but in my head, if anything doesn't seem right, I'm ready to let go. Because anything that will give me stress after I've collected this ring, I didn't want it. So in the whole of the whole thing,
before you collect ring,
anything that will give me stress after marriage,
okay,
I didn't want it. Okay. You know, it's in courtship that somebody will know that
right, sure,
this thing when do you get? So I was still open to who is this brother? Who is he? Like his spirituality cannot for me. Do you get? Like who is this? Because
you anointed of the
my own brother Shola too is anointed. It's filled. So I've known anointed people. So like,
Really?
do you get, like, I know anointed people, so like anointed, praise God. Do you get? So at that time, if you like did anything that was funny or tricky, sure, I would have. But my husband was always passing all the my play test, and not play test, my test and my, to know is it him, it's not him, it's not him, it's not
We
him.
have the Holy Spirit giving us
So
expo.
as a sister, you have to be very sensitive. Even if you've said yes, still be very sensitive.
Definitely.
Know this person, like know him. Tell God to show you. Is this God? Who is this man? Only God can show you. Only God. And God will reveal it. So when it was July 17th, I told my dad, and it was like, I told him that this is the person I want to get married to, and I've prayed and I'm sure. And I now said, the person that took care of Temilolua when Temilolua was in Lautech. So he was like, okay, he will pray about it. So I remember that I went to the mountain, went to pray. And after the third day, he called me and told me that this is what God told him. I'm not going to tell you. This is what God told him. And I was like, It was like, but we'll keep praying. It was good things, so I don't even think I've told him. It was not like, well, we'll keep praying. And I'm like, okay. Just it was like, you can go ahead with the relationship, but we'll keep praying. I said, okay. So I ended the call. I told my mom, and my mommy was like, should I tell my mommy's first question that she asked me?
What?
Have I that told you?
I can't remember actually.
She was
But
like, she the doctor in Ukraine.
God have mercy.
I know that she's going to see this video, but I mean, because she was like, she was trying to wrap her head around.
Photographer.
How she mixed? Like,
Yeah.
it's not even the photograph. How did you meet? Like,
Right, okay.
do you get what's kilo? Do you get?
How?
But the power of God past the power of man. So she was like, sure. I was like, Mommy, this person that God said, though, I've prayed, and that's it. She was like, that okay, that she too, she's going to pray. So later, she was not telling me that she had some contentions, though, that she would not even lie that she had contentions. But then when she prayed, that she just left that day, and God told her, like, more like she heard an audible voice. Damilare is your daughter's husband. I will not tell you the remaining things. This is my secret. Okay. That God, okay. What, let me tell you. She said God sort of convicted her as regards him on my behalf. Do you get? God told her that don't look at his background though. That's your daughter's husband. And my mommy just your what yesterday. She said, okay, she now called me, that's, do you know him now? Is it this? What state is he from? This and this and this. And she was like, okay, no problem. Nope, that continue. And that was it. In that, I think we settled the whole thing in, is it July, August? Yeah, I think it was August with my parents, with my side. How was it for you? How did you tell your parents? Do you get what I mean?
How did I really talk? Well, I guess it was when go back home from Lautech, then I was still in Lautech going through the whole thing, and when I got back home around April, it was still after a while. Yeah, it was after a while. That was when I just kind of met my big mommy. Then I told her that I have someone I'm dating, prayed about her, and believe she's God's will for me and her. And one of the things I often say to my parents is, I'm not going to bring names of people to you. Whatever I bring to you as my wife is my wife, and that's the person I'm going to marry.
Agbawoli.
I'm not bringing two people or three names to you. I'm not doing that. I'm not. There are people that actually had messaged me, send me list of names of people, and they are wanting me to pray and know who God's will is for them. It's a personal conviction, and there are so many criteria to getting married. There are so many criteria for you to know who God's will is for you. Just imagine our previous experience also, where I said that I had a vision of someone. Why didn't I end up with the person? There are so many things to marriage. It's a mystery. And so you can't just sit down and write a list of names because they look like potential husband or potential wife, and then we call them prospect. Call them prospect, and then it is not right. If you are doing that, stop it. Stop it. Don't do it again. All right. It is wrong. It is wrong. Build the relationship with God, and that's fine. So I told my parents, say, whatever I bring to you is who I'm getting married to, and that's it. I told my mom the same thing. And when I was going to, when our relationship was going to start, and we have to tell our parents about it, I just told them, okay, this is who my wife is. This is who God said I'm getting married to. My mom collected a name. As I say, if you like, carry a name to any prophet, to anybody, that's your own. But this is my wife, settled. So it really isn't that hard for me. Like, it wasn't that difficult for me. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So yeah, I did not feel any oppression from my husband's side. Like I did not feel any how do I say it? Like there was no like struggle like that. Yeah, there was no like struggle like that. Like because I told him what's up, what did this, and it was like, there's nothing anybody's saying. I'm marrying you, and I'm like, but boy, you should sure for bye. Like, why are you like? It was so sure. It was very sure. Like it's like whoever he brings home is who they are going to collect that. Like it was very sure. So I was so rest assured. I wasn't even bothered at all, and I was really as I was accepted or what is like I think like okay I was accepted, and I mean I was accepted and I'm loved. In fact, nobody can reject me, the daughter of the King of Kings. So there was no much pressure. I think one of the things that helped us were the seasons of prayers.
Yeah.
Like the times that we have really prayed and prayed and prayed. Do you get those times were really defining moments for us in our relationship? When you're in relationship or courtship leading to marriage, it's not about taking ice cream, honestly, because ice cream cannot do the welfare.
Wait, did we ever went on a date?
You don't have money, that's fine.
I wasn't poor actually. I wasn't poor. Hello. I was working. I might not be earning much, but I was living a comfortable life, not oppressed by anybody. God was always supplying my
A
needs.
contented life.
What?
Contentment.
Contented.
Need to fẹ́ gbọ́.
Oyinbo buru. English is wicked. Anyways, I guess we only went for a date once.
5 minutes date.
It was more than 5 minutes at least now. We
Okay,
watched
we
the
sat
program.
down.
We're following the program online then now. Or is it the DK program?
I don't even know.
It was the DK program we're following online then. I remember we sat down at the
Sensation is
Susan
song.
station is the song exactly. We have a picture of it anyway, so it's going to be seen. That was our first and only date during courtship. And even when we are married now, not time to go out. Our date is in our house. But we'll plan. So I mean, during courtship, I believe that courtship is a very sensitive period. All right. I mean, I'm not trying to rule out the fact that you don't need to have fun or
Please enjoy enjoy. Our
yourself,
priorities are different.
exactly,
Please,
exactly.
in fact, you can go to Mexico, you can go to
But when you
Italy.
are doing all of those, when you are doing all of those, going out and enjoying yourself, it is not to defile the bed before marriage, all right? So just to a reasonable extent to keep yourself, all right, until the altar
Yeah.
or after the altar.
Yeah.
Okay, so anything before then should just be done with wisdom. Okay, should be done with wisdom, with discipline and boundaries. Okay,
The
so
word boundaries.
that is it basically. So enjoy yourself, have fun, go out, do whatever need to be done, but let purpose be ringing in your head as you are doing all of those things.
Purpose before pleasure.
Exactly. That's the word. Purpose before pleasure.
So that was it for us. It wasn't that hard. It was when we now wanted to get married. Gang, 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 gang.
That is when it seems like pressure was coming.
That was when the devil now said, wait, it's happening. It's bad day. You didn't want to know what I see.
Let me interpret that for you. She said it's happening. The devil said it's happening. And then the devil arised.
So that time it was I left home. It was time to get married. So we already planned a certain time that we'll get married, but it did not work as we planned. In fact, we already paid money for court, but the money was cutted, so it didn't work.
I mean, that was
So
that was in was it 2021 or
I,
2022?
I don't even know. I can't
No, it was
remember.
2021. I remember I was still doing my service then. We're still serving now. We're still
uh
serving. It was part of our service money that we used to go and pay for.
I
Was there
think
about thirty
was it not your
thousand?
first salary in NYC or
Like that,
second?
that wasn't the first.
It
That wasn't
wasn't
the
the
first.
first.
I can't I
It
can't
was
actually
sure. It
remember.
was sure one of your
It was
salary,
part of
your
the
alawi that you
Alawi.
carried to go and pay for court. That we should do court,
Exactly.
so you
We
should do
wanted to.
court because we're going to travel to America. Oh God, please. That's why I said that God makes all things beautiful in His own time. You cannot rush God.
Exactly.
You might think that let me just fast track, but God is a principled God, and He
Mm-hmm.
doesn't do things in a way that does not bring honor. Do
True.
you understand? He doesn't do things in a way that doesn't bring honor. So we wanted to like by court and like do it in a very funny way, but it wasn't God's will, so it didn't work out.
You
It
know,
didn't work out for some reasons.
one of the things that actually made us try that attempt was because we believe we were here in a particular month to get wedded, to get married. And so that was the month we were trying to chase. And that was actually happening because of, how will I put it? It certainly wasn't from God. That date precisely was not from God, because I needed to call one of my mentors back then on campus, King Faz, and because he had recently just got married prior to that time. And so I just called him and I was like, "Ah, sir, this is what it's seeming. I'm praying, and then it's like I had God saying that, okay, this is the month we are going to get wedded, this is the day, and how everything is going to run." And then he told me his experience, how that he had that same feeling. And
Hmm.
I trust him, he's a man of prayer. He's a man of prayer. And so he said, in fact, he knew the date, he knew everything was going to go. And when he was going to tender it to his family and to his in law family, the date was not accepted.
Hmm.
The date was not accepted. I guess it was maybe a month or 2 months after, or 3 months after, even that was when they had to get married. But ours
It
was more
was
than
up to a
months.
year. It
It
was
was more
more
than a
than a
month.
year.
More than a year,
It
exactly.
was more than a year.
Because I
So,
mean 2021 to 2023.
that expectation that I'm getting married and everything just kill you. But we give God glory. So it wasn't anybody's fault. It was the way we wanted to take it.
Mhm.
So that was it. We take responsibilities for our actions in our
Definitely.
relationship. So that was that. So fast forward to when we now wanted to get married. So it was looking that there was no provision, things were not working out and all. We went back to the drawing board of prayer. Like continued praying that God, this is what you told us. This delay cannot continue. There is a vision. There is a glorious
Exactly.
future to
Mhm.
start building. There is a nation, a justified nation. At that time, we didn't even know justified nation.
No.
It was in marriage that justified nation came. So that's okay, that God, we just step praying and all, and God began to raise help. He began to raise men, even for our help and all. We did our wedding like in a very stressless form.